Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Life from the Inside Out with Kris. Before we begin with Kris's unparalleled metaphysical content, I know that many of you watching have felt a sense of being ungrounded, unhinged, or out of balance in these times. I know. I've felt this way too. Kris's teachings have similarities to popular ideas such as the law of attraction and the secret. The difference is that Kris's knowledge goes even deeper into reality creation and helps resolve many of the problems identified with the law of attraction. The information he shares helps restore grounding and that sense of balance that many of us have lost in these times. If you're ready for the law of attraction and secret 2.0 and want to be a part of this fantastic community, then hit that like button, subscribe, drop a comment below, and press the bell icon so that you get notified when Kris releases cool, new metaphysical content. Kris also offers life-changing online seminars, private sessions, and mentoring sessions, which are all linked in the description below. Glad you're here with us, and let's jump into it. And welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Life from the Inside Out with Kris. And I know we've been having some episodes talking with our friend Myrna, but we're back with the Life from the Inside Out series. We're kind of running these together. And so I'm excited to be back here and talking with Serge, and we'll be bringing Kris in a little while. So, Serge, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. Getting ready for the colder weather up here in Toronto, Canada. Leaves are turning, clouds are ominously gray, a little bit of rain today, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And I do think we had a little bit of an interesting discussion. It'll be interesting to see what if Kris has anything to say about that. Just kind of the idea of, and I'm going to talk a little bit broader here of coming back to something we've talked about before, the idea of this, our state of mind, and how that particular state of mind influences what we create. So I'm wondering if that might come up or might be something interesting to talk about. Some
Only one way to find out.
Yeah, well, I wonder if he's got anything to say about that.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are the viewers ready? All right, they're ready.
Now we trust that you are comfortable.
Oh, very comfortable. Thanks, Kris.
Indeed, and we thank you for your consideration.
Oh, thanks for yours.
Your previous discussion with Joseph has many interesting points. And one of those that we would highlight is indeed the state of one's mind, the psyche, the state of your mind, your mindset. There are many different words for it, but they basically comprise of your different values, beliefs, feeling tones, emotions, imaginings, and quite a few. It makes a very nice buffet, if you like. And there are many people who want to make some changes in their lives, but they want perhaps a small or big change to occur. And we will bring this up in far more detail with Myrna and the law of attraction, which we would like to also express as the law of reflection. But suffice it to say that for the moment, when an individual wants to really change their reality and their experience thereof, it literally requires a transformation of the mindset. It needs to be rebooted, edited, reconstructed, renovated. Of course, some of that may take a little longer because you cannot simply wish for something nice, something empowering, while at the same time still clinging to or holding on ideas of your fears, powerlessness, ineffectiveness, perhaps even self-disapproval to varying degrees. These create a state of conflict within the personality because you want to move forward, but you are still anchored, literally anchored in the past. You will not be able to move very far forward until the length of the chain is reached. And then you will spin faster whilst not going anywhere, as the expression goes. So it requires a basic, fundamental change at the level of the mindset. That entails a transformation of the imagery, of the image of all of the mechanisms utilized by the individual to create their reality. As we have suggested in the past, you cannot still cling to and hope that Windows 3.5 will run in the back of your computer while you're trying to initiate Windows 11. The whole system will eventually crash. You will get that fatal bomb on the screen. So it requires an change at the basic level, which involves all of the ideas that the individual has at their disposal about themselves. And once the change begins, of course, there might be some hesitations because it is entering into or out of the comfort zones of that person. But once you become familiar and the intent is maintained, the so-called out of the comfort zone becomes the new comfort zone, and the old becomes the out of comfort zone. And such transformations are happening in small ways all the time. You actually exist between two various fields. A field of what you want and a field of what you don't want. And that involves a constant state of transformation. So that is part of your experience as a being, as a soul, in this plane of existence, that you desire transformation and you work at the transformation. And there are times when you require resistance. Not necessarily for somebody to tell you what you are going to transform into, because that just repeats the old stories, but simply someone to assist you in forming a new state of mind, a new mindset, so that you can then continue your journey towards what you want. And usually you cannot have what you want by holding on to what you no longer want. That is incompatible. Does this make sense?
Yeah, Kris, and I was wondering, and one of my observations is that this is happening in each moment, in each now. And I'm using the example of, I know within the course of a day, I'll use the example of, I was having a state of mind that involved worry or panic, and then another time in the day, that same one, I'd found a state of mind that was of peace. And literally within that moment, I could watch the creation change from when I was in that one particular mind and the state of mind, what I was experiencing through the senses or the creation, that particular creation was, and the perception is completely changed from moment to moment. So I was wondering if you could comment on the relation to the
Indeed.
now.
As we just mentioned, you basically exist in a constant state of transformation. It is impossible to expect not just the individual, but consciousness itself to remain static. It is itself in a constant state of transformation from one moment to the next in the context of a expansive, simultaneous now. All manner of different probabilities or alternatives are tapped into and utilized to aim for the kind of transformation that brings the fulfillment concerning the individual's own desires. That suggests also that your universe itself is in a constant state of transformation. Your scientists, astrophysicists, and so many others already have observed that the lights in the heavens at night are also not static. And it is not just because they twinkle as a result of air currents in the upper atmospheres, but they are also always active. Your sun is always active. There's all sorts of activity on the surface of your planet. Underneath the water, underneath the ground, everywhere. Even your own minds and the flow of your thoughts. You respond unconsciously to the thousands of thoughts that intersect with your consciousness and your awareness on a daily basis. And you make all manner of adjustments, micro adjustments. For instance, you entertain various internal dialogues throughout the course of a day. Whether you notice it or not, your tongue has hundreds of minuscule muscles that move, even though you think you are not saying a word, but you are saying words in your mind. And your tongue responds to those words, to that inner dialogue. Your blood courses through your veins. Your blood cells carry oxygen into the system and the debris outside of the system. Your skin, though to you looks and feels solid, actually is not at the microscopic level. There are all sorts of, we shall say, passageways wherein different forms of gases and chemicals escape the body, not just the kinds of gases you are accustomed to. There are other chemicals. The trees, the plants, the flowers, the vegetables, the fruits. Nothing is static in your entire world or universe. Why would you think then that you as a person are static? Even the image you have of yourself is a constant series of adjustments and transformations. Your self-image is constantly vacillating in one way or another. It vibrates, if you like, though it is not necessarily a word we like to utilize. But there is always manners of transformations that occur. The cells in your body themselves are also active. So there is nothing that is still. Even what you might consider, of course, the mountains and the stones, they do not move, but they do. The quantum level of the energy that makes those objects as you perceive them are also in a state of flux. Everything is in a state of motion. Even your own internal feelings, they fluctuate sometimes from moment to moment to moment, and then again. You have all sorts of feelings and emotions throughout the day. The mental imagery that you play in your mind's eye is also constantly vacillating, like leaves in the wind, changing and transforming from moment to moment. So everything has a certain kind of motion to it. Does that make sense? So not only is it something that occurs to you at the very biological level, but at the psychological level as well. Everything is in a state of transformation. So to change one's reality, there has to be then a significant transformation about the nature of your thoughts and your mindset vis-a-vis the nature of the reality that you want. Joseph has certification as a life coach, and this is going to be announced at a certain point in the very near future as a secondary stream of exchange with individuals, wherein he can function as a transformation life coach, helping people do just that, separate from our own work, but certainly there will be crossovers. We do our own work, as you have experienced yourself and as others have for 40 years. So Joseph is just catching up, if you like. But you get the gist of what we are saying. Basically, that nothing stays the same, and yet everything looks the same.
Well, yeah, there was an interesting thing between watching those two different states of mind, Kris. I might have been interacting with the same person, but depending on what my state of mind was at the time, that person would completely change to reflect that particular state of mind. In the one with worry, they may turn from somebody who is perhaps after me or something, and that same person, if I change my state of mind, is, oh, look how loving and collaborative and creative, and nothing external changed except for the way I was perceiving in that state of mind. So it is interesting, and thank goodness it can change, because I wouldn't have wanted to stay in that worried state of mind. And it was just something that came and went, and I tried to learn from.
Indeed. As we suggested earlier, we will refer to the law of attraction as actually the law of reflection, because it reflects what you hold in your mindset. Basically, you get what you concentrate upon. And as you have evidenced, your particular state of mind reflects specific kinds of responses. We do not care to use the word reaction, but a response from other individuals as a reflection of your own state. And this is something that can be verified simply by ordinary experimentation. Try and be old man grumpy for a while and see how people respond to you. You can channel the seven dwarves if you like and see how that works out.
Well, I've tried that, Kris, without being too old. I know that I've played with that before. It's very different. Yeah, it's for sure.
Indeed. And of course, no one has to take our word about this. You can verify with your own experimentation. And of course, everyone's experiments and experiences will be different, but you can certainly establish themes. Try to hold on to the idea that not only are other human beings inherently good, benevolent, but that you are too. And see how your day unfolds. And then try the opposite and see how your day unfolds. And as your expressions go, we would bet that you would prefer the previous experimentation.
Well, and there's also some interesting things with like I know there's been experimentation with body positioning. Like if you go and you slunch your shoulders and you're all like you'll begin to feel like depressed, or if you kind of get your chest up and you're nice and upright and feeling confident, like you'll build that feeling. So there's all kinds of interesting little correlations there too.
Indeed, because your body awareness, your body consciousness, if you like, you could call it your unconscious, has templates that you have put in there, utilizing various mindsets throughout your years. The body knows if you're going to start feeling depressed, oh, that means we have to have the shoulders hunched, the head pulled down, we have to have a certain look, and so on and so forth to reflect that particular mood. You are happy, you are feeling well, your chest expands, your shoulders pull out, your head is up, and everything seems brighter. And you go from one state to another by becoming aware, being mindful. You can learn where your state of mind is at, also by observing your body. And if you find that you are slumping and your own mindset is perhaps gloomy today, very simple fix. Tap into the template of the body where you are normally strong, your back is strong, your shoulders are out, your head is up high, you smile, and see how fast your whole mindset changes. Again, you are in a state of transformation. You always will be, and if not in this physical body, in other bodies, dream bodies, emotional bodies, so on and so forth. You have those. They are all programmed by you in a very specific manner, albeit sometimes unconsciously, but you plug into them depending on your mood or state of mind.
And is some of that happening in mass too? Because people seem to have similar body positions for different states of mind. How does that work?
Let us put it to you this way. Experiment by perhaps walking into a neighborhood you have never visited before and try to get a feel for the atmosphere, for the general mood of that neighborhood, and watch what happens to your body. Your body will respond to the primary energy that is in that particular area. And if you do not like it, make the necessary corrections and, again in your vernacular, haul ass out of there. So you will always notice how your body responds, but that requires a appreciation for the mechanisms of the physical body, because it is not just a vehicle. It is not just a lump of flesh. It is its own awareness, biological and otherwise. It does take its cues from you, but it is its own particular kind of perception that works in conjunction, in unity with you, but it takes its directions because you are the captain of that vehicle. And in order for that vehicle to serve you, it only requires some appreciation. Maintain it properly, develop a healthy mindset, healthy emotions, healthy feelings, good rapport, both internally and with others. Just such a simple set of actions can go a very long way into elevating different states of mind, literally moving you away from states you may no longer wish to be in, acquiring the necessary transformation steps, and literally landing on the kind of homepage that you want to. Just like when you search for an internet site, you go to a search engine, you type in the website, and then once you hit that return key, you land on that homepage. So you can set up your homepage, if you like, as a primary mindset. And whenever you notice that perhaps your ship is steering towards a storm, or your ship is too close to shore, you make the necessary corrections. You plug into that internal homepage and then continue your journey. If, however, you land up far too close to shore, or you find yourself in a storm, then acknowledge it, address it, however and with whatever means that you have, and then accept yourself in the most loving, encouraging, positive ways so that you can continue your journey. This is just a variation on the theme of the triple A.
And yeah, there's something interesting there, Kris, too, that it's not necessarily about accepting the situation or the state of mind. It's about accepting yourself. Could you go more into that?
Primarily accepting. The main difficulty often encountered by individuals is that they will disapprove and criticize themselves, perhaps even engaging in negative self-talk about having found themselves in a storm in the first place or too near the rocky shore. Why was I not paying attention? What kind of an idiot am I? And so on and so forth. Do away with self-disapproval. It is a variant on worry, and it is disempowering. With that kind of state of mind, who needs vampires? You will suck your own life force out of yourself this way. Worry is, as has been stated by others before, a very poor utilization of your own resources. It does not solve anything. It makes everything worse. If worry was so useful, it might become an Olympic sport. Who can worry the most? Unfortunately, that does not exist. And it is nothing that gains you any valor. There are no badges to be received or rewards. Ah, here, Mr. So and so, here is the award of the year for the best worrier we have ever encountered this year. There are no contests in worries, yet everyone does it. And no one has ever gained anything by it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I was I was kind of imagining that the only place you'd find that type of contest would be on like a Monty Python skit or something, a comedy show, you know.
Indeed. The two Ronnies, Monty Python, Saturday Night Live. But other than that, it does not necessarily serve any practical purpose of any kind. If anything, it is an indication that this should be forbidden territory. Do not cross this field. There are dangers here. You can fall into a tar pit or quicksand if you enter this field of worry, and it will be difficult to get out of it unscathed. Does all of this make sense to you?
Oh yeah, yeah, I definitely follow that. Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer to take a little break now?
Well, yeah, I think we could wrap up this particular episode. So anything else coming up?
Indeed. The best thing we can offer is, first of all, utilize the information we have given, build up this particular inner program wherein when you notice that you have veered off towards a storm or the shore of whatever kind, you can remember this program that you have built in systems of emotions and feelings and imaginings that actually reverse the situation so that you do not enter into endless pits of worry, but you come out of your situation the wiser for it. We are not advocating suppressing any form of emotional or feeling realities, but we are saying that you do not have to be stuck there.
Yeah, I follow that, Chris. It's like using the ship analogy and the shore. It's like you'd want to know why your boat got so close to shore without the self-judgment. Just be able to look at that, and then maybe next
Indeed,
time you don't do that.
indeed. So the captain would perhaps investigate if any of the mechanisms on board might need attention. What might have caused the ship to veer in one direction or another away from his intent?
Denial, pretending that you're not near the shore in that instance would not be helpful because you wouldn't figure that out.
Indeed. And those kinds of situations, we would say that you create, you form, because you need to understand how you function. Because again, you are always in a state of transformation. So you want to know, what are you transforming into? That is an even more interesting question. And that may be for another discussion.
All right, I like it.
Indeed, then we thank you for your consideration and your transformation.
All right, thanks as well, Chris. Thanks for watching, and if you would like to leave a question for Chris, drop it in the comments below. Myself, Serge, or someone from the Kris team will be checking and may use them to drive the discussion. put them in future episodes. So if you'd like to interact with the Kris community, feel free. Put your questions below, and we'd love to hear from you, and see you again next time.